Our next speaker has been the head cross-country coach and distance track coach at Binghamton University for 21 years. And she has gained a reputation for not only recruiting at excellence, but also developing elite distance runners and also creating a training regimen and camaraderie that has produced championship teams and peak individual performances. She's coached a pair of men's All-Americans. Now her female All-American is Emily Mackay. Here to speak next about Emily and her great achievement, please welcome Annette Acuff.
I'm going to apologize now. I'm probably going to speak a little too long today, but I definitely don't want to miss anything. Those who know me pretty well know that I'm fairly detail-oriented, so I want to make sure that I cover a lot of things today. This is a great opportunity for me to speak, on behalf of Emily and her accomplishments, and certainly thank a lot of people for, all of their support. So, first, I would like to just congratulate Lou and Kyle and your staff for, all of your accomplishments. The second, All-American is just, it's a fantastic achievement, so certainly well done and congratulations with that. And I look forward to seeing, how you do this next year. And actually the year after that, right? You have 2 years left? That's amazing. It's pretty exciting. This is also just a great time for me, like I said, to just thank a lot of people that provided so much support, especially, with Emily and our programs, our both cross-country and track this last year. There are a lot of people, primarily President Stinger. I should start with you. You gave us the opportunity to compete last year. That was, I can't imagine not having the opportunities that we had. Wouldn't be standing here today, that's for sure. So thank you for giving us that opportunity. Our senior staff, and administration, thank you for, your leadership and guidance last year. That was, I know the time and energy, all the Zoom meetings, the plan that was put in place, I think it worked. We followed it. We followed it as best as we could, especially, being on the road, traveling, double masking, all those good things. Really appreciate that leadership and that guidance. We certainly have a lot of other people like on our staff, Coach Thompson, Coach Murray, Lori Gleason, our strength coach, Amanda Monk, our trainer for cross country and track, and I'm sure I'm missing someone, David O'Brien with sports information. We had a lot of, team support and athletic support for Emily, and, that was very helpful for us. I have to give a special thanks to Chris Downey. I'm glad he's here. That's awesome. I'm a little disappointed. I don't see one of those Oregon or Oklahoma State masks on. And I say that, don't give him a hard time. We brought him a couple of souvenirs back this year from the NCAA championships. And without Chris's help last year, he certainly guided us, guided me a lot with COVID. Went the extra mile to get us vans, approved so we could travel to some extra special meets to get Emily the performances that she needed to qualify for regionals, and, help prepare her for the national meet. And then, Chris also helped me with the NCAA championships with all that testing. That was pretty stressful, as a coach and an athlete. So, really special thanks, Chris, for all the work that you did. I also want to just thank our teams. Our cross-country teams were amazing last year. They really helped support Emily and everything that we were doing. And I think I'd be making a big mistake if I didn't thank them today as well. Emily, rising to the challenge. I think that if I had to pick a phrase that maybe expressed Emily, and her character the most, that would be it. I can't tell you time and time again. Every time, a challenge was put in front of her, she just rose to the occasion. She rises to the challenge every single time. I'd be nervous that maybe, this race or that race wouldn't go as well and not be 100% sure in my mind. And then afterwards, I think to myself, why did I even stress about that? Because every time, her performances, she just really came through. I just want to give a little bit of background on Emily because I think everyone knows how well she did last year, which is fantastic, but not a lot of people know a lot of her background and what she's done just to get to the point. And I don't want to talk too much because I want to give her that opportunity, but as her coach, just some things that I've picked up on that, again, really show her character and who she is as a student and as an athlete. She transferred here from Oregon State after her freshman year. And, we actually had Emily walk on the team as her first year. She had some health issues, some injuries her senior year in high school, and then also her freshman year at Oregon State. And us being very careful, with our budget and our scholarship money, I told Emily, I said, listen, if we can get you back to close to where you were at in high school, like your junior year, then, we'll take care of you. We'll reward you for that, and we'll certainly, make sure that, we give you a scholarship that you deserve. And so very proud to say that, Emily has earned every penny that she receives. I think that's fantastic. Emily trained primarily as a middle distance runner when she first started with us, actually as an 800 runner. And, she was a miler in high school and also did well in cross country, but we went with those events because she didn't have a lot of strength aerobically. She had some good leg speed, and we picked up on that right away, but she was missing that aerobic strength and endurance, and she just couldn't handle a lot of mileage without getting injured. So we kept things to a minimum, and in my mind, I thought, she just needs to have some success, get her rolling again, get her back having some confidence in herself and what she can accomplish, and she did that. In 2020 of indoors at the Valentine Invitational, I was actually at Iowa State with Dan Schaefer that day, and she was in Boston, and we had some of our track staff with Emily, and she broke out in the mile. She ran 4:46 in the mile, which was an outstanding time. Anytime you're getting close to 4:30 for a female, you're moving, and she broke our school record pretty easily that day, and then went on and anchored our winning DMR at the America East Championships, which came from behind, and I'm not even sure. I can't remember. It's been too long now for me to remember how far back she was, but basically ran most of that 1,600-meter leg by herself and hunted down the rest of the field and ended up winning right there at the finish line. And it was just an amazing performance. I'll never forget that. But just a very exciting. So she broke out, and so we were very excited, and then COVID hit, and we were like, oh my gosh, no, this is like terrible timing, for her. But talked to her about, a couple of different things before she left. And, we got to remember, these kids were gone for like 6 months, like on their own. I started calculating back in my head, like, gosh, how long was that? And but from March until late September, when we returned in the fall, she was on her own for 6 months. And I've talked to her a little bit about this today, but about elaborating maybe on how she handled that when she was on her own so much, because she really transformed herself during those 6 months, and it's pretty impressive, what she did, and she deserves absolutely all the credit for that. But I talked to her a couple of times, and you could tell she was struggling a little bit. And knowing Emily the way I did for the previous 2.5 years, I knew she's a pretty social kid, loved being around the team, loved competing with the team, and I know she was struggling with just the online classes. So, I was pretty nervous, but obviously, she handled that situation very well during those 6 months. So when we came back in the fall, just to go over a couple of different experiences with her that, again, I think just really show her character and her personality and everything that she's kind of worked through and accomplished to get to where she's at. She came back in the fall. We had 6 to 7 weeks to train together. I think we got cut short maybe about a week before Thanksgiving. We had to shut things down, and you could tell when she came back she was pretty fit. She had done a lot of work. She was a lot healthier, She was moving in the right direction, which was super exciting to see that. We didn't get to compete in the fall. Our cross-country season got postponed to the winter. So one of the things that we did was I had the team do like an optional time trial, and we couldn't observe it. And I just said, you know, you could do like a 3K or a 3,200, which is about 2 miles. And she contacts me and she said, I think I want to run a 5K. And I was like, really? I was like, that's great. Okay. She was like, yeah, I think I can break 17 minutes. So I go, yeah, I think you can break 17 minutes too. That, you know, that's definitely doable. So she has Grayson, her boyfriend, pacer, and a 5K on the track, on her home track over there at Endicott. And she calls me to tell me how she did. And I said, well, how did you do? And she's like, she was like, I ran 16:37. And I said, you did not. And she was like, yeah, I did. I go, no, you didn't. She's like, no, Coach, I did. And so we kind of went back and forth, and it was funny. You know, I'll never forget that phone call, because that was the moment, I think, for her and, you know, definitely for me. And we knew that at that point, like, she was super fit, and that, you know, she was definitely going to have a great opportunity to do really well in cross country, have a chance, we thought, to like win the America East Championship, and certainly she was able to do that later in cross country. During the winter cross country season at the NCAA Championships, just so impressive with how well she competed there. Couldn't believe it. Most athletes, I've had 2 other athletes, you know, the first time they went to the NCAA Championships, those kids, if they've never been there before, they don't have that experience. They're usually very nervous. And they don't always perform at the best of their ability. So I had a lot of people contacting me saying, what do you think? What do you think? And I'm like, you know, I don't really know. You know, I mean, it'll be interesting to see how she does. But the way she handled it, so calm, and was just super excited to compete. And I think, you know, really took advantage of the opportunity and was just willing to challenge herself. And sure enough, she did. I mean, the gun went off, and she was straight to the front of the pack. And with 2 miles to go, was already in the top 30, and just kept tracking people down after that. So just an unbelievable performance, very special for her, I know, and for us. And then with the outdoor championships, kind of a similar thing. She needed to qualify for the NCAA regional meet, and we needed to get to a meet where she'd have that opportunity. We didn't have a lot of opportunities. There weren't a lot of places we could go. We went to Toledo, and she could either run the 1,500 or she could run the 5K, and she'd have someone pace her. There wasn't a lot of competition there, but we knew the coaching staff there, and they had kind of promised us. They had good pacers, and it was going to run well. And I told her, I said, you know, the 1,500, it's probably going to be a little bit more competitive. You'll have a better opportunity. And in the 5K, you know, Toledo's got a girl, she'll pace you for 3K of that 5K, but you got to run the last 2K by yourself. I said, that's not going to be easy. That's going to be hard. That's going to be really tough. And we went back and forth a couple of days, you know, or so on it, and she came back. She's like, I want to run the 5K. And I was like, all right. And so we go, and, I mean, the last 2K that she ran by herself was just pretty unbelievable. So to run one of the best times in the country, I think it was a top 30 time in the country, and run that last 2K by yourself was just, once again, she just really rose to the challenge and the occasion. And then at the outdoor championships, not many people know this, a few people do, but our flights got delayed. We were supposed to fly out of Syracuse on Wednesday, and then we didn't get out there until late Thursday night, and that's 2 days before she competes. And I was very beside myself, as you can imagine, just very nervous, because I know what that schedule is like, having taken other athletes clear across the country. You know, you're flying for 5 hours. It's a lot on the body, and the time change. So we're going to the NCAA championships, and I look in the back of the car, and you know, I know she's tired, and she's yawning a little bit, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I've really screwed this up. You know, it wasn't necessarily my fault, but as the coach, you know, that's how you feel, and you take a lot of responsibility in that. But she got to the track, I know, struggled a little bit, was pretty tired, but, you know, she'd fallen back, I think, about midway through the race to about 16th place, top 16, get the second team All-American. And, you know, our hopes was she could get that first team. And, you know, sure enough, with like a mile to go, you could see her start to move. And I feel so bad for everyone who couldn't have been there to like see the whole race, because it was just amazing what she did, and moved up with 1,200 to go from about, I think it was 16th place to 12th place, and then passed another 5 girls in the last 800. So just an amazing performance. All things considered, I can't say enough about this woman. Just an incredibly strong human being and competitor. And look forward to this next year with you. This is going to be an amazing experience. I feel it. So I'll let her come up and talk a little bit. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak today.
Thank you, Coach.